Hi, good morning everyone. Oh well, now it's the afternoon already, isn't it? So yeah, hi, I'm Kang. I'm a 25-year-old student who studies in Monash University, going about his normal daily life in his university. From getting boost juice around the corner to eating Hai Di Lao and playing football with my friends on the weekend. But little do you know that this little Malaysian boy here has a drive to renovate the technology landscape through a different approach and perspective. Hi again, I'm Kang. I'm a 25 years old technology entrepreneur who started a multi-million-dollar company based out of Australia and in Malaysia at the mere age of just 17 years old when I was still a full-time degree student. As a student at a global level, you may have heard of some of our brands before. UnBound, powered by FW Takaful, a financial institution in Hong Kong. UnBound, united by Celcom, a leading telecommunication company in Southeast Asia, where we developed the learning management system that's adopted by universities around the world to gamify your studies. On top of that, if you are from Subang Jaya or from Malaysia, we developed the 5G infrastructure and connectivity for citywide projects for government and state government and the federal government in different countries. The three photos behind me here is something that we are very fortunate to actually break through at the youth level to do government projects and engagement with the United Kingdom, Australia and Asia Pacific, where we compete with international firms such as Microsoft and Google. And this is the two frame of reference of who I am, or my introduction, in which I want to challenge today on how do we identify the next big thing in tech. As you can see, I think I look relatively quite young, right? I do look like any Asian boy around the world, well, at least most of 1 billion of us, right? But the two different introductions would have produced two different preconceptions of who we are. And that's the concept I would like to present today, on how we can identify and reinvent the next big thing in tech through a different perspective of founders and technology. At every event this year, or the last few years I've attended, the people will always ask me the similar question: what is the next big thing in tech when everything's been developed, didn't go to market in this day and age where it's so advanced, right? Even the iPhone launches almost the same phone every year, and has every iPhone supporter or Apple supporter, right? I got no idea what's the difference between the three generations. It's just other than the colors. That is blue, I don't know what color is that, and that color. That's the advancement I see in Apple for the last few years. So what is the next big thing? The next big thing in tech, based on our past experience, is not truly about the technology itself. It's about the people behind the technology. It's about the people who can see through a two different view of what is needed and what is missing in a multidisciplinary sectors. Back in 2017, when we first wanted to re-innovate the educational sector, the education sector is very well known for one of many things, and I'm quite sure for students you will know this, to have a traditionalist culture that's very, very resistant to change. But to be fair, most industry would be resistant to change because they have low motivation to actually adopt the changes, right? And that's where this term was coined, cannibalization cost. What does this term even means? The term cannibalization is defined as bringing a success to a product would ultimately bring a negative impact to another certain group. It creates a very unique paradox in which a sacrifice is always needed in a technological advancement. All technological advancement go through the process of cannibalization, where some would be at the beneficial end, and some will always be at the short end of the stick. leading to the concept on how we can reduce this effect, making technology more ethical, yet as efficient as possible. This is where you stand to be unique, to find a solution to avoid the cannibalization cost. The concept in which we wanted to present to the world was not a technology that will replace all the teachers across all the universities, but actually the total opposite. It was meant to complement the teaching experience, the teaching delivery, by using the technology. As you can see, the concept or technology that we want to show the world was to complement the classroom activities in a non-classroom environment. I think you can see it doesn't look like any classroom, it's outside, right? So that is the concept that we wanted to do. The teachers will still be the main pillar to deliver the contents in the class. And I dare to say that job will never be gone. The technology only takes place when they are away from the classroom. That's where the technology will come and say, hey, I'm going to recreate the experiential world of the educational content into a gamification method, into an incentivization method for the teachers, educators, and students alike. The way we wanted to innovate was not to look at one perspective, but to look at a dual perspective method that creates a much fuller picture. It's a very normal story to hear a founding of a company have some type of anecdote about having and building a team of individuals who are wildly different in nature, in background, in personality. But somehow, suddenly, the synergy just clicks. Their conflicting worldviews suddenly creates a thriving and successful business. A similar cliche of a story actually happens to us. We were two founders who started in 2017, right? We were as different as the sun and the moon of the night, as different from our personality all the way to what we eat and what we wear. Let me give you an example. My co-founder, she was a rice person. I was a noodle person. She ate 100 times a day. I ate 2 times a day, like a normal person, right? But somehow, the synergy just clicks. It's because we chose to embrace our differences rather than our similarities. And we took the same framework into how we evaluate the method on how we want to evaluate the opportunity and risk within the landscape we wanted to innovate. Let me propose to you guys and girls and everyone a controversial kind of subject. To have an idea to be successful or to make it an innovative idea, you must have a very strong belief and conviction towards your idea, right? But as youth, do we really need such a strong conviction towards our own idea? It's an important trait, or it's a normal story to hear a founder or a successful innovator saying that you must have a very strong feeling, you must have a very strong conviction towards your own idea to make it successful. But if we look at our idea through our own perspective, through one lens, through our own ideology, doesn't that make us resistant to change as well? In this world, there's many great ideas that will succeed. But how we find gaps and how we adapt our ideas to this day and age would make all the difference in a technological advancement. Everyone can create a great technology. But if no one uses it and no one understands it, is our idea still impactful? Let me share to you one last story. The story goes where I met this young chap. I was at one encounter and this young chap said to me, okay, he wasn't very that young, he was just 2 years younger than me, right? He told me this statement that I couldn't forget. If people who do not use ChatGPT to simplify their daily life, they will be called a boomer or a laggard. And this guy was referencing to a negative preconception or a negative view towards people who stick to their traditional mindset, their traditional methods, over adopting the new fancy day items and innovation to simplify your day. But is that so wrong? Many of the traditionalists or traditional understanding is still very relevant to today. And how we find gaps within these traditionalist ideologies would create an immense growth of opportunity that most people overlook. The diversity of idea could catalyze your growth. But to incorporate the boomers, incorporate the traditionalists into your organization could create a core foundation starting from the bottom all the way to the top. The term boomer is very known to be a negative term in our current day and age. But I see it as an opportunity to create a new technology of immense growth for an inclusive design. The concept today we wanted to present to the world, especially to the younger generation, was to create a technology that transcends multiple generations, create an audience appeal that's understandable by all age groups. In technology nowadays, it's very essential in all our daily life, and I think no one can disagree with this. It's not uncommon to see grandparents and grandchildren alike using the same devices, using the same software. My grandmother, which have just turned 80 this year, right? She uses TikTok more fluently than me. Against, of course, all the fake news and stuff, but sometimes, we have to power through that area. But she used TikTok more fluent than me, and she has probably more followers than me too. And that's where, am I considered a boomer in that aspect too? It's now to take lessons from the past and create for the future. As now is your time to go beyond, to test the limit of technology that can benefit a multi-generation view. Thank you.